What's up, San Diego, and a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Today, our Bill House studios have moved. We're up at the Loft for today's show, getting you ready for Padres baseball with the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show coming up at 12:10 with Sam Levitt. First pitch, Padres and Phillies. Padres trying to avoid the sweep and kind of salvage this homestand here at Petco Park after they lost 2 of 3 to Los Angeles, took 2 of 3 from the A's, and now down 2-0 to the Philadelphia Phillies. It's always great being up here at the Loft. A lot of tours are happening today. Looks like somewhat of a field trip day today, for maybe a summer camp day for some of the kids that have been walking around so far. Love being at the Loft. Love being here for Padres baseball. We got to try to mix something up here, Frank. You know what? They called in us to try to mix up the mojo with the offense. We haven't been here during the homestand. Offense hasn't been that great. Last night, a continuation of the exact same thing that we have seen for the last couple of weeks. I mean, last night was the same recipe that we've seen almost every single day during this, stretch of games, if you will, where it's a couple of nice plays here, a couple of good individual at-bats where you think maybe they'll be able to get over the hump, but overall the result is the same. Another frustrating loss, and when the offense started to get going a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, all of a sudden now you have a stretch right now they're starting pitching, digging yourself into a hole and having to climb out of it early in a game, which is not a recipe for success. So we're going to talk a lot about yesterday's game. We're going to talk about the Padres, the state of the Padres in general. If you haven't done so already, be sure to give us a like on this video. We appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. We also appreciate you guys tuning in around San Diego on the airwaves. But I look at last night's game, and you know what? You got a home run on Manny Machado. It's his third home run on this homestand. I don't think that's enough yet to really, be more comfortable with what Manny has been doing at the plate. He's obviously frustrated. You saw it on his check swing ground out late in the ball game. But, I will say this about Manny. I mean, he has been the one at his locker that is talking to the media after these 2 losses, after games that he hasn't played very well. I mean, I know he hit a home run yesterday and worked a walk and contributed that way. But, I mean, he's out there talking to the media and taking responsibility for the lack of offense this team has. And it doesn't really matter what statistic you look at offensively, Frank. This is a team that is last in almost every category with the exception of home runs and stolen bases.
Yeah, no, this is not a good team right now. Not a good offense right now at all. And now you're getting death by 1,000 solo home runs. I mean, it's solo home run in the first, second, and third inning yesterday. You had one in the first inning on Monday night. This is something that now we talked about how unsustainable this is, winning with the offense the way it is. Granted, you're still 8 games over 500 at this point. But you look at you look now at the starting pitching, which has been keeping the games close and keeping them in these games and allowing them to fight. Now that's starting to falter. And if you're down early with the way this offense is going, I saw Chris Eller tweeted last night, is like after Harper hits the home run in the first inning, you think, well, that's it, game over. And rightfully so with how this team has been hitting. So it's starting to show now that how unsustainable this is. And we know it. The players know it. Now they have to really hunker down and try to figure out what the heck they are going to do to try to right this ship. Because last night, 5 hits, you had 2 home runs in there. 5 hits ain't enough to beat a team like Philadelphia. And again, Nola came in with an ERA over 6 yesterday. Right. And he looked great.
The problem, I mean, again, the Padres' inability to hit starting pitching has been a massive problem, especially when their starting pitching in this last week had not necessarily been super lights out. I mean, you had some good outings, I think, out of guys like Lucas Giolito and Griffin Canning. Walker Buehler battled, but now you saw a couple of now relatively bad outings of the year out of Randy Vásquez and Michael King. But to go back to Randy Vásquez, I mean, solo home runs should not hurt you. It's unfortunate that he gave up 3 solo home runs, all in 3 consecutive innings, while getting the first two batters out of said inning. That is remarkable that happened yesterday. That is something that you don't see every single day, but an unfortunate break for the Padres. But the overriding theme of this team remains the same. They are winning enough games to stay relevant, but the offense continues to be one of the worst performing units among playoff hopefuls. I mean, it literally is a team that is, I don't know how they're finding ways to win, but it's relatively their bullpen and their defense. But after another frustrating loss to the Phillies, you heard the clubhouse sound from yesterday, but the mood reflected just an exhaustion more than a panic. I mean, players are searching for answers on the daily. The production simply has not followed. You heard it from a lot of different players yesterday in terms of the accountability, in terms of what they're working on, what the team has talked about, what they have been trying to do after the fact, after games, before games. I mean, if you look at Kevin Acey's newsletter from this morning and look at the big picture takeaway for this offense and what the team has been doing, I mean, they again are not saying that it's not an effort thing, right? Like, nobody around the organization questions the effort or preparation, but the hitters are working extensively in the cages. They're holding post-game discussions. They're studying at-bats together, searching mechanically and mentally for answers. I mean, yesterday on that check swing by Manny Machado might have been one of the first times I have seen Manny incredibly frustrated as a hitter in a Padres uniform. I mean, a lot of the time, Manny, even when he's in a slump, has never really panicked. He's never really pressed. He's kind of, blown a bubble and been like, all right, and been cool about it. But this is the first time that you're seeing him visually frustrated at the plate right now. And that's coming off of a day yesterday where he actually did hit a home run.
Yeah, and you could tell we don't really see him show a lot of emotion, show a lot of frustration. And he showed that last night. So you could tell from a guy who usually stays pretty even keel, for him to start showing that emotion, start showing that frustration. Yeah, you could tell it's bothering him that much, that this is continuing to be a problem. Kevin Acey said it yesterday, where this is the worst start to his career in a 51-game stretch to open up the season. He is not playing well. He knows it. And no amount of articles, no amount of us talking about it is going to make him play better. He's got to figure it out. And I think you're right on the exhaustion and the fatigue from it. It's just, how many more things are we going to have to try to figure out in order to get this thing going the way we need it to go? Yeah,
and obviously this all starts with Manny Machado at the top. It always has been. I mean, he's hitting 173 this year with a 616 OPS, but it's not just him. I mean, it's the four stars. I mean, Xander Bogaerts got off to a great start. He has not been very good in the month of May in comparison to what he did in April and in March. But I mean, you look at this lineup top to bottom, the ones that are contributing are the role players that are expected to just play around average to slightly above average baseball for a big leaguer. And the guys that aren't getting the job done are the ones that have to be in the lineup every single day. And there's really not a lot of solutions you can have, especially when they're trying everything in their power to fix this problem. I mean, Ramon Laureano described the situation as being a pitch away, a drill away, and a conversation away potentially to just fix this offense. But it's not care level. It's more execution. And I also think you're getting to a point where, these guys are trying to, and I know Ben and Woods were talking about the term pressing this morning for a lot of other teams. I mean, the Cubs are going through their struggles right now. They've lost 10 straight games. They look anemic right now on offense. But you look at what the Padres are doing at the plate, they're getting away from their approach. They're getting away from what makes them a good offense when they put things together. They're swinging at pitches out of the zone. They're trying to make things happen more than they should. Instead of letting the game come to them, they're trying to make too many things happen with one swing of the bat. And it never works that way at any level of baseball.
No, it does not. And you heard the recognition from Manny on Monday night saying that, yeah, I did something that the team did not need in that first inning, or I was trying to do something that the team didn't necessarily need me to do in that first inning. again, it goes back to pressing, knowing the offense is not performing well, and trying to do too much. It's a get back to basics sort of formula that the Padres need to get back to, and maybe try starting by, I don't know, paying attention to the game plan and what Steven Souza Jr. puts up together. So that might be a good start.
And we talked about this yesterday. It's hard to do that when you're struggling. It's hard to continually to try and, go with the game plan when you're not seeing results. Then the personal feelings jump in there. You look at the scoreboard, you see the numbers, what they are on the scoreboard, which they're not very good, and you start to press a little bit more. And obviously, when you're winning games, things feel a little bit better. But when you start to lose games, it could spiral out of control on you. Here are some of the numbers that are becoming alarming for the Padres, as laid out by the newsletter by Kevin Acee. The Padres are now 1/3 through the season, and the offensive profile is looking historically problematic for a team that usually makes the playoffs. Key offensive concerns: current team OPS is .655. No playoff team since Major League Baseball expanded the postseason in 2022 has qualified with an OPS below .670. Only 11 teams since 1961 have won 83-plus games with an OPS this low, and the last team to do it was 1989. As Kevin Acee lays out, being 8 games over 500 right now does not guarantee sustainability unless the offense improves significantly. The standings will eventually correct themselves in the long term. That's very interesting information about the OPS. It does not account for the fact that the Padres bullpen is elite, and the defense right now is at a very high level. That's what's keeping them afloat, and that's what's managing this month of May at now a 500 clip. And the Padres in their next 4 games need to go 2-2 to go what was projected by us a 500 month, because this is one of their tougher stretches of the season. The bullpen is doing their job, but they can't do their job like this for a full 162 games.
No, and we're talking about the starting pitching a little bit earlier here to start the show, is they're starting to falter now. If you have a team that is as thin on offense as the Padres have been, the starting pitching now starting to shake. Could you imagine when the dam breaks on the bullpen?
Right.
This team is it's going to be a hard watch on a nightly basis. So you've been relying on starting pitching to keep you close. That's starting to go, which means you're going to rely even heavier on the bullpen now to keep these games in line. And that's not something that any bullpen is able to do for the entirety of a season. It's not possible. We do have a lineup out today, by the way.
Yeah, we can get to that in just a little bit on the lineup. I did see that come out right before we started today's show. I mean, again, the everything starts with Manny, but there's other players too that we haven't really talked about because it's been the two storylines have been Manny Machado really underperforming and Fernando Tatis Jr. not hitting a home run. At least Tatis is like getting himself on base right now and starting to put things together. If you look at the individual numbers of Fernando right now, not too bad. Obviously, you want to see him hit the ball over the fence, but he's on a 10-game on base streak now. During that time, he's hitting .306 with a .441 on base percentage. And, there's still little concerns mixed in there, but right now, for a guy like Fernando, you saw him hitting the ball extremely hard in the first couple of months. Right now is about results, I think, more than anything else, just to get the confidence going a little bit more for Fernando to him settle in. But I think it starts at the top of the lineup, and with Fernando batting at the top of the lineup, things are getting a lot better for the Padres in that particular category. We'll check the numbers on that in just a little bit.
I think the last 3 games, I think he's, 6 for like 11 or 12. So he's hitting about 500 in the last 3 games.
Yeah, and over the 10 games that he has played on this on base streak, he is hitting over 300. But I mean, I look at Fernando and I look at the way that he is kind of going to have to solve the leadoff problem for the Padres. I mean, and that's been a massive problem all season long too. I mean, that's something we've talked about numerous times. I mean, first batter of the game finally has 4 hits now Fernando's had 2 of those hits in the last couple of weeks here, and he's starting to improve that position. Leading off innings, again, that's another problem for the Padres. They're not very good at leading off innings. Right now, the best hitter leading off an inning is still Gavin Sheets hitting 294. And then you talk about the leadoff guy. The Padres have finally gotten their batting average for a leadoff guy over 200. Their leadoff hitters are hitting 207 with a 594 OPS. Fernando's hitting 278 as a leadoff hitter with a 675 OPS. At least you know you can pencil Fernando in at the top of the lineup every single day. And the thing is, why people didn't want to see that is they saw him hitting home runs, and he was a home run hitter, and you want to get guys on base for that. Well, if he's not going to hit home runs, you might as well leave him in the leadoff spot. But we've talked about Fernando a lot. We've talked about Manny Machado. But the one that we haven't really talked about too much that is also not helping you right now is Jackson Merrill's massive slump. I mean, Jackson Merrill is 5 for 55 over his past 16 games. That's an 0.91 average, and he has 20 strikeouts during that stretch. I mean, this is I would say, a more significant under-the-radar issue for this lineup. The Padres, I mean, they need Jackson Merrill to help lengthen the lineup. And so you start adding all of these problems that the Padres have. It's one thing to just have Manny Machado slumping. It's another to have Manny and Tatis. But when you have almost a whole third of your lineup that is getting paid to be the star, that are the star players, all in a massive funk, I don't care what the other guys do. That's a recipe for disaster, and you just need one of them to start coming out of it.
Your big 4 right now would be Fernando, Manny, Merrill, and Xander Bogaerts. Fernando is hitting 255. He's the best of the bunch. Xander Bogaerts, remember, he was hitting like 280 last month. He's slipped to 245.
Yes.
He's not helping you in any way, shape, or form right now either.
He's had a terrible May.
Manny's hitting a $173, which he's starting to look more and more like a 2024 Schwarber, where he's going to hit like a $190. But he's had
3 hits this homestand.
They're all home runs.
They're all home runs.
Yeah, he is going to either hit the ball 9 miles or he's not going to hit it at all. That's the way his season's looking so far. And Jackson Merrill's hitting a $194. Not good, and they're trending downwards. The only one that's trending somewhat upwards is Fernando, again, who's had a great run of form here so far. Andujar's batting average is starting to slip, but again, you're not really looking at him to be your big playmaker, be your big contributor. Ramon Laureano, outside his home run last night, he hasn't done anything either. He was hitting like 360 after the first couple weeks. They moved him to the start. They moved him to the leadoff spot, and now he's hitting 211. 211. That is a free fall from him.
A good thing he homered twice. We got to take a quick break. We're going to take a look at this month of May for the Padres and really see who's trending in the right direction, who's trending in the wrong direction. I mean, we haven't talked about the positives. Obviously, the bullpen continues to be elite. Defensively, they're all making great plays. I mean, it's hard to argue against that. But we're here live at the Loft. It's our Bill House studio of the day. We know how. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the numbers in the month of May as we start to wrap up the month of May here in San Diego. Final game of the Padres and Phillies series here at Petco Park. Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. You're listening to the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 to the Fan.
The NFL schedule is out, and some teams already won before the season even started. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, huge winners. Kansas City gets extra recovery time for Patrick Mahomes, 2 straight home games, and a perfectly timed early bye week. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles may have the cleanest road to another NFC title, but not everybody got lucky. The 49ers have 2 international games plus a brutal late-season stretch. The Miami Dolphins might have the hardest schedule in all of football. And then there's the Bears, 6 short weeks, weird kickoff times, and nonstop routine changes for now in his earlier terms as the head coach in Ben Johnson. So how much should scheduling matter in the National Football League? Because some teams clearly got help and others got buried. The full 2026 NFL schedule finally came out. And as always, it's not just about who teams play, it's about when they play them, because schedule releases can absolutely shape a way a season plays out. Rest advantages, travel, primetime exposure, bye week placement, international games, short weeks, all of those things matter. And after looking through the entire slate, there are some clear winners and losers this season before the season even kicks off. The biggest winner is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's start with them. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's made it clear that week 1 is his target, although who knows if he's able to play by week 1 at full Patrick Mahomes potential or not. And the NFL, well, they quietly helped him out. They get a final Monday night slot of opening week, so a couple extra days of rest just in case to try to get him activated for week 1. 2 straight home games to start the season, and a week 5 bye, and a relatively manageable early stretch before things get brutal later in the year as Patrick Mahomes navigates this torn ACL injury. That setup gives him extra rehab time, a softer runway, and a chance to ease into the season before the Chiefs hit that late year gauntlet that includes Buffalo, the Chargers, and more division games. If he's even close to healthy by October, Kansas City could be dangerous again very quickly, and the schedule really plays into their favor. The New York Jets might actually have hope, yes. And then there's the Jets might change a little bit with their schedule. Here's the interesting one. New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn. Year 2 pressure is real after only 3 wins last season, but the schedule gives the Jets a chance to breathe. 4 of their first 8 games come against the Titans, the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. Those are very much winnable games. If the Jets simply handle business early, they could be hovering around 500 midway through the season, which honestly would be, completely change the energy around that franchise. And in New York, it's all about momentum, especially when it comes to the sports teams in Manhattan. The NFC North is going to be chaos. Green Bay Packers look like the schedule winners out of the division. They've got several cold weather home games late in the year, 5 primetime games at Lambeau, a bye that lines up nicely before Thanksgiving, and a softer opening stretch than some division rivals. Meanwhile, Chicago Bears got hammered with scheduling quirks. Second-year head coach Ben Johnson now has 6 short weeks, multiple odd kickoff windows, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday games, destroys routine, and the coaches hate routine disruption. No matter if you're in year 50 or year 2, year 1, it doesn't really matter. The Bears are talented, but this schedule is going to test their preparation every single week. Eagles got a gift. Philadelphia might have the cleanest path to the NFC. There's some tough games in there for the Eagles, but there's no overwhelming murderous stretch. Their bye week lands very well. Their holiday schedule is very favorable, and even their road stretches feel very manageable. That matters for a team trying to become the first NFC East franchise in decades to win the division 3 straight years. The pressure is still there on Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, especially with questions surrounding A.J. Brown, but the schedule absolutely helps out the Eagles. In terms of the biggest losers, it's got to be San Francisco and Miami. The Niners got absolutely worked by the travel schedule. They're opening their season up in Australia. They got another international game in Mexico City. They have brutal late-season road trips and one of the toughest closing stretches in all the National Football League. That's rough even for a veteran roster that the Niners have. Meanwhile, the Dolphins may have the hardest schedules in the entire league, not just the AFC. 3 of their first 4 games are on the road. Late-season trips to Buffalo, Denver, and Green Bay, all places that are very cold late in the season, and their final 6 games are against playoff teams from last year. That's brutal for a rebuilding team with a first-year head coach. Last thing for you, don't sleep on the New Orleans Saints. They were kind of a sneaky schedule winner when the schedule came out. The NFC South feels wide open again. It's really wide open almost every year. And while the Saints have some very tough games early, their overall schedule is very manageable. Only 1 primetime game for the Saints, no overwhelming travel stretches outside of the game in Paris. And if they survive those 2 weeks, they might quietly hang around and be part of the playoff race all year, especially in the division like the NFC South. The NFL season isn't one in May, but schedules absolutely they absolutely shape expectations. Some teams got smoother ramps, others got landmines, and in a league where 1 or 2 wins can decide playoff spots, bye weeks, travel, and short weeks.
Bank Banking, it's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, broadcasting live from the Loft up here in the Western Metal Supply Company building at Petco Park, getting ready for Padres and Phillies, Game 3 of the 3-game set. Padres trying to salvage this series and finish 1 game under 500 on this homestand, and then get ready to go to the East Coast. They're going to take on the Washington Nationals, who are red hot right now, and then play this Phillies team again next week. So this is all about it. Every time we say this, this is all about, it's not who you play, It's when you play them. And right now, you got the Phillies when they're red hot, and you're going to get the Nationals when they're red hot, and you still got to deal with the Phillies next week. It's a little bit about timing, too, during the season, because the beginning of the year, the way the Padres were playing, the way the Phillies were playing, I think it's a different outcome. But this is when you're playing Philadelphia, is right now when they're doing starting to put things together on offense and with the pitching staff. So we'll see what the Padres can do today. It's not a must-win game because those don't exist in the month of May, but this is definitely you got to get after it and try to win today's game even more than you usually do. And what I mean by that is, all hands on deck with the bullpen. Use Mason Miller. Go play for the win, as Mike Schilt would say. That a lot of teams maybe not won't do. I mean, tomorrow's an off day, so everybody could be off tomorrow in Washington, D.C., sleep in a little bit after you fly over to the East Coast. It'd be nice to get a win here against the Phillies. How are they lining up against the Phillies? Let's take a look.
So leading off, batting at second base will be Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second, playing third, Miguel Andujar.
There it is. Adam can send the 50 cents to Scraby for using the sounder.
There you go. All right, so we'll start with
Make it $1.
Dollar.
There you go. I love it.
Leading off from the top again, second base, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second, playing third, Miguel Andujar. Batting third at first base will be Gavin Sheets. DHing, batting fourth, Manny Machado. Batting fifth at short, Xander Bogaerts. Batting sixth in left field, getting the Padre graphic love today, Ramon Laureano. Batting seventh in center field, Jackson Merrill. Batting eighth in right, Nick Castellanos, starting against his former club. And batting ninth behind the plate, Freddie Fermin, with Walker Buehler, the starting pitcher today.
Be good to have a little bit of a bounce back out of Walker Buehler. He's been a little shaky in his last couple of starts, but he's been pitching well enough to keep you in the ball game. You got to try to put up some zeros early in this game and get some zeros out of Walker Buehler, especially with who you're going against today for the Philadelphia Phillies. And you're trying to help your offense as much as humanly possible. And offense, by the way, as we mentioned before, is not getting any type of pop out of their top four players. I mean, this is what the Padres have had so far this year. It's been the same story every single time. In the top four, like the top four players, one of them has performed to an okay level, and the other three have just been absolutely abysmal. You look at the first month of the season, Xander Bogaerts was playing to a really good level. Probably not his best level, but a really good level. And then the other three were not doing very well. Now you look at this month, in the month of May, Fernando really starting to figure it out a little bit at the plate. Is it with the power? No. But if you look at Fernando's month of May, it's a lot better than it was for his month of April and March. May, 262 average with a 310 slug. He's got his OPS up to a 664 in the month of May, which is a lot better than where he was at before. Still looking for that first home run. But, again, he's playing at an okay level while the other three are not. And what I mean by that is Xander Bogaerts, who had a great month of April, March. We're going to include both of them together. He hit 275 during that time frame with a 784 OPS. That's down to a 203 average and a 547 OPS. Jackson Merrill has not been very good, but he's been slightly better than Manny in the month of May. He's hitting 171 with a 504 OPS. And then you look at Manny Machado's numbers, a 116 average with a 498 OPS in the month of May. At least Manny's hitting the ball over the fence, but you can't have any type of that. You can't have any production like that out of your stars for any month. And you're getting that out of three of your stars. And if you have three of your guys not performing, it makes things a hell of a lot worse than they really are.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's now, like we said, the big four not doing anything on offense. So it's been a very, very, very tough watch here as of late, as far as this offense goes. And I think we kind of said it yesterday as well. We are definitely at the point where, it's early. These guys are just getting set up. No, that time has come and gone for sure.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you want to join the show today. We really appreciate you if you guys do. Sound off on the phone lines. We're going to start things off with Thayer in San Diego. Thayer, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, San Diego.
Good morning. What's going on?
Yep. Well, I'm just checking in a little bit here. The fall guys with the batting coach and pitching coach is shortchanged. It's not their problem. It's in between the ears of the players, and I'm thinking they need to go back to their pony league coaches and start back at the basics. Watch the ball hit the bat, put the ball into play, and slugging average. If you spin them around and just put the ball to the bat and get the ball moving, it's a whole lot better than hitting it over the fence. And these guys are concentrating so hard to be stars, they think they need to hit it over the fence. It's hard to watch, that's for sure.
Well, the offense has been hard to watch, and I appreciate the phone call there. I don't think everybody going up to the plate is trying to hit a home run every time they're up there. But I do think, you're starting to see them try to do a little bit too much, Frank.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, and like I said, you got Manny said it on Monday. He was trying to do way too much, and that's the thing is, by doing less, especially hitting, when you're focusing on, like Thayer said, just see ball, hit ball, by doing less when hitting, you're actually doing more. Because, my high school baseball coach always told me that home runs were accidents. What you're trying to do every at bat is trying to find a gap. You're trying to hit the ball in the gap. You're trying to get two bases. Just putting the ball in play right now has to be the goal. And hopefully, and trying to find some sort of grasp with it. Don't focus on anything else. Just get back to that simple, basic thing of bat to ball, put ball on grass. That's all you have to do.
You can keep going back to, Annie Halbrin had an interview with Steven Souza Jr. in spring training about the offensive philosophy and what the approach is and everything like that. And it's all the right things. Eventually, guys have to execute those said things. And again, when you start to press at the plate, what goes out the door, sometimes that mental approach at the plate. Let's get out to Eric in Chula Vista. Eric, what's going on?
Hey, guys, love listening. Thanks for taking the call. Listening to the show and then watching the Padres, I seem to get caught up, especially watching the game, in like batting averages and how Merrill and Machado and the rest of the offense is doing. I prefer Manny and Merrill to be batting 150 and 170, but, being situational hitters, you can't have Manny batting 170, bases loaded, double play. I think situational hitting is what the Padres need to do. You can bat 350 and 400 all year long, but if you're not driving in runs, it doesn't do us any good. So,
I appreciate the phone call, Eric. The Padres actually have been able to have some situational hitting, especially some late situational hitting. It's just their overall averages haven't been very good in general. It'd be nice to just rack up some runs early, but I like what Cole Brooks had to say in the YouTube chat. Have they tried to not stink sometimes? They're trying the best they can. I mentioned it before. It's hard because it's the same thing over and over again. But as we mentioned in the Open today, where the trends are and what the clubhouse effort is, and Kevin Acey's daily newsletter. Nobody around the organization questions the effort or the preparation. If they're putting the effort in, if they're preparing, if they're working extensively in cages, if they're holding post-game discussions, if they're studying at bats longer and together, if they're searching mechanically and mentally for answers, they're getting all the extra work in. I don't know how much more they have to do. It starts to get to a point of maybe we got to do less and simplify things so the at-bats are a little bit more simplified. We really want to get more of your phone calls. We do got to take a break. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live from the Loft at Petco Park on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Las Vegas Golden Knights are now only one win away from sweeping the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Final, and honestly, no one saw this coming. Vegas came back from a 3-0 deficit in Game 3 to win 5-3, and now leads the series 3-0 against the President's Trophy winners. The Golden Knights have completely shut down Colorado's speed, block shots everywhere, and gotten huge performances from Carter Hart, Jack Eichel, Thomas Hertl, and even Dylan Coughlin, who spent most of the season in the AHL. Meanwhile, the Avalanche subtly look rattled. Cale Makar's injury has exposed their defense. Nathan McKinnon might not fully be healthy, and Colorado is now on the verge of one of the most shocking eliminations in the playoffs. And out east, Montreal and Carolina are locked in a battle after Nikolai Ehlers scored the overtime winner in Game 2. The Stanley Cup Finals just keep getting crazier. The Stanley Cup playoffs have officially gone off the rails, but in the best possible way, as the Vegas Golden Knights are now one win away from sweeping the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, and the Montreal Canadiens continue proving that they are fearless on the road. The Carolina Hurricanes may have found the missing piece they needed for years in Nikolai Ehlers and a reborn Taylor Hall. And somehow, the biggest surprise in hockey right now might just be John Tortorella's Vegas Golden Knights. I don't think anyone truly expected this. The Vegas Golden Knights are up 3-0 on the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Final after yet another unbelievable comeback win on Sunday night. Vegas erased a 3-0 first period deficit to beat Carolina 5-3 and now sits one win away from another Stanley Cup final appearance. This series has completely flipped because Vegas has done something almost no other team has been able to do against Colorado, which is they've neutralized their speed. The Vegas Golden Knights are blocking shots, finishing checks, clogging the neutral zone, and forcing the Avalanche into mistakes, and it's working. Head coach John Tortorella said after Game 3, quote, "This is a game where we showed some balls." And honestly, he's not wrong. Vegas looks tougher mentally right now. The crazy part is it hasn't just been the superstars carrying Vegas either. You've got defenseman Dylan Coughlin scoring his first playoff goal after spending most of the season in the AHL. You've got Carter Hart standing on his head. You've got Thomas Hertl scoring the game winner in Game 3. And there's Jack Eichel finally breaking through offensively in Game 2 before setting up the go-ahead goal. Vegas suddenly looks deeper and a more composed team, even without Captain Mark Stone for part of this series. They are still finding ways to win. So the big question now is, what's the problem with the Avalanche? Now the pressure is completely on Colorado, and honestly, the absence of Cale Makar early in this series exposed how important he is to everything that they do. The defensive pairing looked disorganized, the puck movement wasn't clean, and the Avalanche keep hurting themselves with turnovers and missed assignments. Even Nathan McKinnon admitted after Game 1, saying, quote, "Colorado did a lot of damage to ourselves." And now there's concern McKinnon might not even be fully healthy after taking a puck off the knee in Game 3. And that is terrifying if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan, because this team entered the playoffs looking like the clear Stanley Cup favorites. And now they're on the verge of getting nipped by the President's Trophy curse, getting swept out of the Western Conference Final. On the East side, the Montreal Canadiens continue to prove that this playoff run is absolutely real. The Canadiens are now 7-2 on the road this postseason and already stole Game 1 in Colorado by blasting the Hurricanes 6-1, their first loss of this postseason. This young team does not look intimidated at all. They play fast, they attack in transition, and they are constantly pressurizing defenses with speed. Coach Marty St. Louis deserves a ton of credit because this team is bullying into its identity, is buying into its identity completely and bullying other teams into playing their style of play. But Carolina answered back in Game 2 thanks to the offensive addition of Nikolai Ehlers. Ehlers scored twice, including the overtime winner, to even the series at a game apiece. And now this Eastern Conference Final suddenly feels wide open. We've seen throughout sports history, it's very, very difficult to do in the NHL, but a 3-0 deficit is not entirely impossible to overcome. That being said, I don't think the Las Vegas Golden Knights are going to be giving up that lead, giving up that advantage anytime soon. They know what it's like to play in the playoffs. They've played in the Stanley Cup Finals before. They've won the Stanley Cup Finals before in their very, very brief history as a franchise. This is a championship team built on championship pedigree. I feel as though they are going to comfortably cover the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado may get a game, possibly 2, but it is not going to go the full 7 and give Carolina a chance. Out east, Montreal and Carolina. This is a very, very good series. I picked against Montreal, against the Buffalo Sabres.
Up here at the Loft at the Western Meadow Supply Company building, the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2. Today, we are live until about 12:05 as we get you ready for the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. First pitch between the Padres and the Phillies. Christopher Sanchez, Walker Buehler, your starting pitching matchup today. We will have a preview of that later on in the 11 o'clock hour as we continue. Oh, wow, power. Lights go off out here in the Loft. A little bit cool up here.
Power outage.
I hope it's not because
it's an offensive outage.
It's definitely not because I still have
our Chargers are still going.
Yeah. What was it called? Yeah, the power outage is for the offense. The offense is in a little bit of a power outage right now for the Padres. We're taking your phone calls on that, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Cameron in San Diego. Cameron, what's going on?
Braden, I just got to say a couple things to you and Frank. First of all, you guys are the best talk show in all of baseball. I tune in every day. Second, I got one hot take for tonight's game. We're going to make headlines. Either we're going to get perfect game by Sanchez, or we're going to break his streak with a random Tatis home run. That's all I got to say.
Wow, Cameron in San Diego. We haven't gotten to the bold prediction segment yet. We're either going to get perfect games or Tatis is going to hit a home run. What if Tatis hit a home run to start the game today? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
That'd be awesome. Then I'd just wake up from my nap.
Would want to see his face on that. Just like that look of, oh my God, finally. Just that weight lifting off.
Oh my
God.
God.
Be incredible to see.
Well, you know what? He went from the most negative prediction ever to a highly positive one too. So you know what? Glass half full, glass half empty.
The gambit is what he did.
Okay. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Yeah, not just a no-hitter. They're not going to work a walk or get hit by a pitch or nothing. It was no errors. Just you're going to get a perfect game.
Was he at a 37.2 inning, 27 and 2? Oh.
It's right here.
37 and 2/3 inning scoreless streak. Words.
37 and 2/3 scoreless inning streak.
Good.
Sound better for you?
Yeah.
A little bit easier to say.
English are hard.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Barbara in Spring Valley. What's going on, Barbara?
I'm just amazed at all of these pundits that call in knowing exactly how to fix everything for the Padres on the offense. Except for Cameron's phone call that was positive. Every one of these guys is the most negative person I have ever heard. But since they seem to know how to fix everything, I'm amazed that MLB hasn't hired them as coaches. That's it for me. Thanks.
I love it so much.
You know what, Barbara? I mean, that was a great phone call. You're even getting a round of applause here at the Loft.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, Barbara, here's the best part of it. She didn't even see all the comments in the YouTube chat. I mean, those get out of whack too. I mean, or some of the tweets. We had somebody tweeting, did the Padres have an advanced scout? You know what, man? They forgot to add that to the front office. I guess they don't have one. We were supposed to scout these guys before we played them.
A certified Drake moment. Come on.
Maybe that's what we need to do.
I thought I was on WFAN for a second.
You know what? I will say this. Barbara brings up a good point. I talked about it during the break, but this is why last year when we talked about, hey, by the way, foul on Marg 5446. I got that shirt. When I was moving, I found that shirt. The Eric Owens giveaway shirt from 1999. I got that shirt. Give that guy a foul. Tee him up.
Probably still fits.
Yeah, because I got like the extra large as a kid.
Gotcha.
That was back like when the giveaways, you just got what you got. There was no like, you didn't get to go change for sizes, and everything was like an XL. So yeah, I got that at Qualcomm, man. Foul on Mark. But this is why when we talked about Xander Bogaerts, basically a year ago today, I mean, it was like one of these shows at Petco Park where he was not doing really well. We had like one guy that just called in and had a crazy comment about Xander Bogaerts and then got mad that Adam hung up on him. But at that point, you know, there was a story about Xander Bogaerts and how when he was coming up through the big leagues or to the big leagues, he was told, find that one person that you trust and believe in that you know is going to give you good advice, and only listen to that person. Whoever it could be anybody. It could be your dad, it could be your brother, right? Because Xander Bogaerts has a twin brother. It could be a hitting coach. It could be whoever. Whoever that person is, that's the only person that you listen to.
Xander has a twin brother?
Mm-hmm.
That's who was playing the first half of last year.
Must have. Yeah, it was his twin brother. That was a bad joke. Foul.
Yeah, I know.
Chalk it up. So anyway, you find that one person, and that's the only person that you listen to. And this is why you do it, because you have, you know, and it's not like they're listening to the talk show and listening to these phone calls from fans and being like, oh, man, I should really start doing that. But it's everybody is going to think that they can fix the problems that you have, but they're not always going to be an expert on the situation at hand. That doesn't mean that you can trust everybody. And sometimes people tell you opposite things of what others tell you of what you should do, because they either don't understand the context or like know what you put through. So everybody needs to find that individual person and just trust in them. And whether or not these players have that, we know Xander Bogaerts has it. It was Victor Rodriguez for a long period of time because that's who was helping him in Boston. Obviously, I don't know what that relationship is now with him coaching in Houston, but you can't just let everybody give you their opinions on things. And sometimes I think, and especially with this offense, I think they got to simplify things right now, because when you start to have problems as a coach, in my experience, and things get a little out of whack and sometimes they get too complicated, the easiest thing to do or the best thing to do is to simplify things and go back to doing the simple things at the plate. Maybe that's what the Padres have to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we kind of talked about a little bit last segment too, is just figure out how to get something going. Don't worry about certain scenarios, and don't worry about, I gotta move this guy over. Best way to get this guy in from second is by driving the ball to right field, stuff like that. That's not going to help you right now. All you need to do is focus on putting bat on ball and finding grass. That's all you have to do at this point. And once you get that momentum built up behind you, it'll only help propel you forward.
Let's get to what has been working for the Padres, though. I mean, a lot of negativity about the offense, and obviously that's a glaring concern. The good news is what usually wins you games in the playoffs, aside from your offense needs to be more competent than this, is pitching and defense. And the Padres right now have elite pitching and elite defense. I mean, the bullpen is dominating. The relief corps continues to carry this team. 1.07 ERA over the past 13 games, 50 in a third innings during that stretch. Wandy Peralta has not allowed a run in 12 innings this month. Adrian Morejon extended his scoreless streak
close last night
to Peralta. 6 2/3 but he did not. Yuki Matsui has been great since he came back from the injured list. I mean, the bullpen has been elite enough to keep games manageable despite the poor offensive support. And that's huge for October, and that's huge for the end of the season. So as we talk about the negatives of this offense, you have to give the credit to the Padres, and they've established themselves as the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. They had one blow-up game that Morejon gave up a handful of runs that has kind of skewed their ERA. But you know that they're not going to be adding too many runs in the later innings, which I think is good news for the offense in a sense of this is the deficit we're going to be behind. It's not going to increase. And I also think it's good in the sense of you got a lead going into the seventh inning or the game is tied. I mean, that's a game that you're probably going to win.
Yeah, and that's that's the way this team has been all season long, is leaving it to the bullpen, which has been phenomenal. But as we're seeing now with the starting pitching, as good as the starting pitching was, as much as they were more or less pitching over what they should have been doing, it's starting to fall apart now. At least the last couple of outings have started to fall apart for the starting rotation, and that means your bullpen is effectively useless at that point. When your offense has not performed the way the Padre offense has not performed, now you're looking at a situation where your best asset means really nothing because you can't get to them to hold leads, to close games out. You're asking them to keep it close, which is different.
It's still important, though. That's not.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely
it doesn't become useless, especially with this team that just drastically flips a switch to the seventh inning on, and they start racking up runs in the seventh inning on, but they can't continue to do that on a daily basis. Let's talk more about the starting pitching. Obviously, you're starting to see a concerning pattern, allowing home runs to one of the first three batters in 5 of the last 7 games. They have allowed first inning runs in 6 out of the last 7 games. And that matters because MLB teams win roughly 67% of games when scoring first. The Padres are 18-5 when they score first. They're 13-18 when they allow the first run.
And what was that stat you said that most of the games the teams win, there was some percentage that was tied with it?
The Rays broadcasters the other day said 75% of MLB teams that win usually outscore their opponent's total in 1 inning. So they have like a big inning.
Yeah.
Right? So like they'll add to it, whatever. But like if you go through the game, 75% of the games in Major League Baseball, the team that wins has 1 inning where they score more than the opposing team does in an entire game. They do it in 1 inning. So you got to, creating big innings is obviously important. To me, I kind of view that as explosive plays in football. Like if you have, I forget what the stat is, but X amount of explosive plays, which is a play of 20 yards or more, is going to lead you to a victory. And so if you're putting up like crooked numbers in innings, you most likely are going to win those games. So, and a lot of those crooked numbers that you put up, if your pitching is doing well, it makes a lot of sense that might be the case. I found that to be kind of eye-opening that, teams score more runs that win 75% of the time in 1 inning than their opponent does in the entire game.
Yeah, and that's why we talk about big innings and why the first inning on Monday hurts so much. When you get the bases loaded with the first 3 batters and score nothing. That was an inning where you could have really put that game away. You had Jesus Luzardo on the ropes right from the jump, and you let him off the hook. That is really not conducive to success, and it's kind of deflating when you get into a situation like that and you immediately give it up.
How about the? I'm going to read this one again. The Padres starters have now allowed a home run to one of the first 3 batters in 5 of the last 7 games. That's incredible.
Yeah.
The first 3 batters of the game have hit a home run in 5 of the last 7 games to start. That's so hard to overcome, especially for an offense that's already pressing, and you're going to put more pressure on them on a sense of, hey, by the way, before you even come to bat, you're already chasing runs. Because the last 7 games, that's basically the homestand, right? This is on the homestand. 5 of the 7 games in the homestand have started with one of the first 3 batters of the team hitting a home run.
The first one I can really remember was Ohtani in the last game of the series against the Dodgers. I don't remember about Oakland or Los Oaklamento. And what was
they had one. I remember a couple of those. I think it was it wasn't Saturday because Saturday it could have been Sunday.
I just don't remember who hit it. And then yesterday it was Harper, Turner, and Real Muto. I believe
those are the 3 that hit it.
Sosa.
Yeah, Harper hit one in the first inning. It's hard to overcome if you're the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
11 o'clock hour when we come back, we'll talk more about Major League Baseball and maybe affecting Manny Machado or other members of Major League Baseball. High velos. We'll have that conversation next. 11 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97.3, The Fan. We're talking a lot about it's not who you play, it's when you play them. We're in the second hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. We're live from the Loft. We brought the Bill House Studios with us. We know how as we get you ready for Padres and Phillies. Interesting thing, article in The Athletic about high velocity and how guys are handling that, and that could be a reason why players might be in a slump. Eno Saris wrote this in The Athletic. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But when you look at, I think the Phillies are a perfect example of it's not who you play, it's when you play them. Because if you look at the start of the season for the Philadelphia Phillies, and I'm going to mention this about the Arizona Diamondbacks, because there are some people in our YouTube channel like, oh, look out for the Diamondbacks. Like, they're getting really hot. Like, Arizona, I told you so. The Diamondbacks are going to be good. I mean, we thought the Diamondbacks would be pretty solid. I thought the pitching wouldn't hold up. But what started at what has been a pretty interesting conversation for us off air, I'm going to bring on air about, again, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. The Arizona Diamondbacks have won 10 of their last 12 games. Well, you know who they've played in 10 of their last 12 games? They played the Rockies, the Giants, the Rockies, and the Giants. That has been their stretch in the last 2 weeks. And they took 2 out of 3 from the Rockies. They swept the Giants. They took 3 out of 4 from the Rockies. And they're a game away from potentially sweeping the Giants. So, yes, I understand, like, they're getting hot. But who they're playing is a huge factor of why they're getting hot at this time. What did we say about the month of May, Frank? I don't know how many times I have to continue to say it. And I keep asking you. But what did we say to start the month of May for the San Diego Padres?
Play 500 ball in May and June, and you'll be in a good spot with the
second half of the schedule.
Not even that, but with the base that you built up in April, you'll be in a really good spot.
Your month of May was it was going to be trickier for the Padres. I mean, you played the White Sox, who at the time was going to be like, oh, it's the White Sox. They're not very good. You played the White Sox at a time. They were red hot. You lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. The Giants you took 2 out of 3 from. That's great. You played them on the road. Team you should beat. Cardinals, red hot. The red hot Redbirds, when they rolled into town, you split with them. Then you took on the Milwaukee Brewers on the road, who is a phenomenal team in the National League Central, who are starting to pull away from the Chicago Cubs. You lost 2 out of 3 on the road. Played a solid Mariners team. End up sweeping them. You play the first place Dodgers, and you could go either way in a couple of those games. You lost 2 out of 3. You played the first place Athletics. You took 2 out of 3, and now you're playing a Phillies team that's red hot before you take on a red hot Nationals team. This is a month that you would have to tread water in order to be successful later in the season. The Padres have done that. It's led to the conversation about the Phillies. Like, the Phillies started off terrible, right? They started off absolutely terrible to start the season as they, ended up firing their head coach. I mean, they got rid of their manager in Rob Thompson. I mean, they did not like what they saw out of the Phillies, out of Rob. Do you know who the Phillies played for the first month of the season?
No.
I mean, in the month of April, this is who the Phillies had. Okay. They played, I mean, they weren't doing that well against the Giants and the Diamondbacks. They were doing okay. Okay. They took 2 out of 3 from the Rockies. They went 1-2 against the Giants. They lost 2 out of 3 of the Diamondbacks. And then they had the Cubs, the Braves, the Cubs, and the Braves during, by the way, the Cubs' 10-game winning streak.
The first one.
Correct. Which led to 10 straight losses. Look, I get it. 10 straight losses is a pretty big deal, and that's not great, especially for a team that probably should have fired Thompson as the manager way before. But as soon as they got rid of their manager, everybody wants to, they turned it around. They were able to turn things around. This is who the Phillies played since firing their manager. They played the Giants at home, who they swept in a 3-game set. They played the Miami Marlins, who they took 3 out of 4 from. They played the Los Clemente A's, who they took 2 out of 3 from. They played the Colorado Rockies, who they took 2 out of 3 from. They played the Boston Red Sox, who they took 2 out of 3 from. They played the Pittsburgh Pirates, who they swept on the road. Albeit, I think that's impressive. They played the Cincinnati Reds, who extinguished them going as the Phillies went 1-2 against the Reds, and then 1-2 against the other team from the state of Ohio in the Cleveland Guardians. Those are two of the better teams that they faced. They lost those series, and now they're playing the Padres. I mean, say what you want about what Don Mattingly has done for this baseball team, but you look at the Phillies, honestly, the schedule has gotten them hot. And right now, the Padres schedule and who they're playing right now, I think is another contributor to what's going on with they're obviously trying to get out of a slump when it comes to the offense and maybe not winning as many games as they had at the beginning of the season. I mean, you start looking at a lot of these teams that are going to be good and competitive at the end of the year. They don't do well against teams above 500. They take care of business against teams below 500. That's what the recipe is. And the Padres during this month are playing a lot more teams that are above 500.
Yeah, they're going to be doing the same thing in the month of July as well, in the month of June as well. So it's a rough stretch from here all the way until the All-Star break. You're playing a lot of good teams. And then as we discussed after the All-Star break, you're getting a lot of teams that are more or less going to be sellers at the trade deadline or teams that just are not very good. And of the teams that you listed, while the A's may not be entirely impressive, that's still a first-place team, or at least it was when the Phillies played them. The Pirates, impressive. They have kept up that good, solid start to the season. And the Cincinnati Reds are also 4 games over 500 right now. So they have played a few good teams in that stretch. But many of those teams that you listed in the Phillies resurgence, they're all last-place teams.
They're not very good. I mean, Cleveland and Cincinnati are 2 teams that are above 500. Cleveland's in first place in the American League Central. And what did the Phillies do against those 2 teams?
They lost.
They lost the series. I mean, teams don't do well against teams above 500. It's very much an anomaly. Go look at every sport out there in professional sports, and you'll look at, and there'll be some teams that do really well, that there's some anomalies, there's some outliers in there. But you start looking at the overall records against teams that are above 500, most teams aren't doing very well. I mean, the Dodgers right now are 15-9, and the Milwaukee Brewers are 22-12. That's a great start to the year, but you start looking at some of these teams, and they're around 500 or below, and that will start to balance itself out as the season goes on, as you look at a lot of the records for teams that have played teams above 500. I mean, the Yankees are one of the best teams in the American League. They're 1-7 against teams above 500. Now, there's some good teams against teams above 500. But, like, if you look at the American League's awful against teams above 500. But, you know, Atlanta's doing pretty well. The Nationals are actually doing really well. They're 2 games above 500 in general, and they're 19-18 against teams with a winning record. Philly, against teams with a winning record, are 6 games under 500. They're 12-18. So, again, when you're the Padres, you want to play close to 500 ball against teams that are really good, and you want to do a lot of your damage against teams that are below 500. But you look at the month of June for San Diego as we finish up May here with 1 game against the Phillies and 3 against the Nationals, 2 teams that, again, have a winning record. You get a little bit of a break with the Mets after you play the Phillies, but then you got the Reds who are above 500. You go to Baltimore, who, you know, is struggling right now, at St. Louis, who you just saw here not too long ago, who is having a really competitive first start to the year. The Texas Rangers on the road, that's a team that doesn't really scare me too much, but you never know what you're going to get out of Texas. You got Atlanta, the Dodgers, at the Cubs to finish up the month of June. You go into July, and you go at L.A., you play the Diamondbacks at home, you play the Blue Jays at home, and then you have the All-Star break. That's a tough stretch for the month of June and the beginning of July. And that's before you start a Central to East Coast road trip where you play Kansas City, Atlanta, and Miami on the road. It doesn't really start easing up until Tuesday, July 28th, where you start the second half of the schedule. And that second half of the schedule has a lot more breaks than the first half of the schedule does. But you know what? It's always changing. It's not who you play. It's when you play them. At the beginning of the season, playing Tampa Bay on the road seemed like a little bit easier of a task than it might be at that point in time. But you start to look at some of the opponents that you have in the month of August. There's a lot of teams that are going to be selling at the trade deadline. It might be a shell of themselves in the second half. But again, still a lot of baseball to be played. But I just wanted to mention that because Arizona, you know, they're playing really good right now. but they're capitalizing on what the teams are that they're playing that are in front of them. And in the month of May for the Padres, I don't think like they've missed opportunities against very bad teams. I really don't.
No, they're playing solid. What, they're now one game under 500 now in this stretch, in which they're playing a lot of first and second place teams. So the schedule has not been kind to the Padres the way this has worked out. Now, you are going to have some difficult teams in the second half of the season. However, for the most part, you're going to get that back. And again, that is the sign of a good team. It's not who you beat when you're playing the best. It's who you beat when the other side is significantly worse than you. If you can handle business against them, you are a good team. If you can compete against these teams that are good, the Braves, the Cubs, theoretically, the Rays, the Dodgers, if you can compete against those teams, then you are a solid team.
And again, we mentioned it before. I mean, it's a couple of winning streaks mixed in there, and then you play 500 ball the rest of the way. I think the Cubs are like the perfect example of that right now.
Yeah.
A 10-game losing streak for Chicago after they have had 2 10-game winning streaks. I mean, you factor in the losing streak there. Basically, you played 500 ball through 20 of those games, then you had a 10-game winning streak. I mean, that's where you're at. I mean, does it really matter what kind of order it's in? I mean, it's all basically a math problem anyway. But you look at what the Padres have done in the month of May, and they are 12-12, and right where we thought they would be at this point in the month. I thought they took advantage of April. I mean, to be honest with you, when we did those predictions at the beginning of the year, I didn't have them winning 18 games in April and going 18-7. I also didn't. You know what? I did have them going 1-4 in the month of March, and then the month of May is kind of around 500 balls. So they're actually exceeding the expectations. But I know those change as the season goes on when you see fun and exciting baseball. When we come back, we are going to discuss some other trends in Major League Baseball and why offenses have been struggling. Eno Saris wrote a piece in The Athletic. We'll discuss that when we come back. $11:17. All our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Some gates have opened up. We got some Padres fans cruising in here at the Loft. Great to be with all of you today. Leading win to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt coming up at 12:10. He'll join us at the end of the show. A little bit of a crossover for you with Sam as he will come by at about 11:45 this morning. Padres trying to salvage this series and salvage the homestand. I will say this, and then we'll put this one to bed before we move on to our next topic. I mean, if you go back to last year with what the Padres were able to do, last year they were 13-13 in May. They went 13-15 in June. This was the tough stretch for them last year. And if you look at through 54 games last year, they have the exact same record as the Padres do right now, and that's 31 wins and 23 losses. And what did they do last year? They won 90 games and ended up making the playoffs. They were 3 games out of first place with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So not to say just because they did it last year, they're going to do it again this year. But the reality is, I mean, last year they had some tough stretches where they got swept by Seattle. They got swept by Toronto. That was coming off of, a couple of series wins after they lost 2 out of 3 to New York. And if it wasn't for the Pirates in the month of May, they would have finished the month of May under 500. So just because they're playing around 500 ball right now in the month of May, most likely will do it again in the month of June. It doesn't mean they can't accomplish making the playoffs or getting the 90 wins. I mean, that's what they did last year. And again, at this point in the season last year, the Padres had the exact same record as they do this year. Interesting article out of Eno Saris, who joins Ben and Woods each and every Thursday to talk about some things around Major League Baseball. He wrote this article about how some big-name hitters are struggling, and the pitchers they've faced may explain why they are struggling. He dives into a lot of different players around Major League Baseball: Heliot Ramos, Byron Buxton, Jake Berger, Jose Altuve, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Salvador Perez, Pete Alonso, etc. But he also takes a deeper dive into Manny Machado because, many of these guys are seeing career-high average fastball velocities at him, and they're not seeing the same results. And when he takes a deeper dive into this, it's interesting stuff, Frank, about what might be attributing to maybe the loss of slug and maybe the loss of offensive numbers that we see around Major League Baseball. It could be because the pitchers are throwing harder than they've ever thrown. Yeah,
looking at one of the graphs here that he has discussing Manny Machado is that when Manny started his career in 2012, he was seeing fastballs averaging just above 93 miles an hour. It dipped down to about 92.5 in 2013. But ever since then, it has slowly gone up. And this year is the first time in his career where it's taken a sharp turn up. He went from facing average fastball velocities under 95 miles an hour last year to over 96 miles an hour this year. Now, that 1 mile an hour jump may not seem like a lot, but remember, that's an average. So he's seeing fastballs go from about 93 to, in some cases like Mizorowski, 104 over the course of his career.
Yeah, I mean, he's facing, as you mentioned, career-high velocity. Has seen gas from Ohtani, Mazeroski, Gilbert, and the Padres core of Machado, Tatis, and Merrill are all on a funk. I mean, statistically, lower slug on fastballs, but an expected slug way higher. Bat speed, hard hit rate, and whiff rate are near career norms for Manny Machado, so that's good news. And the overall outlook for Manny Machado, according to this article by Eno Saris, is likely to improve with easier opponents ahead. Still got to face the Phillies, Jays, and Marlins. Not age-related decline yet for Manny. I mean, we've seen him hit 3 home runs this week. Unfortunately, that's the only 3 hits that he has. I think a little bit of his is the pressing on top of this, but Padres have faced a lot of good pitchers too. I don't want to tip my cap to the other team's pitcher, just like the next one, but it's all part of the context. It all matters in this conversation. But Saris doesn't think Manny Machado's on this rapid decline, and neither does a lot of the articles that we have mentioned and talked about. I mean, Jim Bowden didn't think so either when he wrote about this in The Athletic, and I believe them. I trust in it. I mean, you see some exit velos and some swing speed for Manny Machado still at an elite level.
Yeah, and that's the big point, and that's why we take a look at those analytics, is to prove those points and to see if a guy is just struggling or if he's really starting to go downhill. As we've said on the show openly, he is on the back end of the mountain as far as he's peaked already, and now he's on the down slope of the mountain for sure. But that doesn't mean that he is declining rapidly. He's still able to play at this level. His bat speed is still there. His barrel rate is still decent enough. But seeing faster and faster and harder pitches, that's harder not just on older players like Manny. That's harder on every single hitter.
Yeah, velocity across Major League Baseball continues to rise league-wide. Relievers have elite stuff and some high velo stuff. And by the way, elite relievers, who are they usually coming in against?
They're coming in against your big hitters.
Elite hitters. I mean, so they're seeing this all the time. And this is, I think this article, and we'll dive into some of these other players too that might be struggling with velocity. This is a reminder that early season stats need heavy context. I mean, sample sizes and matchup quality matter hugely this early in the season. I know we said yesterday it's not early on a sense of like this isn't a problem to worry about, but it is early on a sense of, all right, I mean, it's the numbers are going to adjust for the next 3, 4, 5 months of the season. So obviously some of these slumps are going to be more environmental than skill regression. But Manny was probably the big spotlight that we wanted to mention. He talks about Matt Chapman. I mean, his career high fastball velocity is approximately 95.1 miles an hour coming into the league a little bit after Manny Machado. His flat swing makes him vulnerable if he can't hit the ball out in front, needs to lift it. I mean, that's something that, Saris talks about with Matt Chapman. Passive approach lately, fewer fly balls and power. He's been awful statistically, Matt Chapman has. The outlook that, Saris gives Matt Chapman, favorable upcoming schedule could help him regain lift before tougher series. I mean, if you're just relying on the schedule easing up, I know we made a big point about that in the last segment, but I mean, to me, it shouldn't be just about like, oh, he's going to face worse pitching here, so he's going to get better. Matt Chapman seems a little bit more of a concern than I think that Manny Machado does.
Yeah, and that goes to the deeper analytics, the bat speed and pitch recognition and that kind of stuff. I think that kind of thing is more of the telltale of a guy who's in a decline. But Matt Chapman, he has just had a rough year overall for the San Francisco Giants. A guy who was meant to be their cornerstone coming out of Toronto, I believe, was where he signed after he was where he was before he signed that big contract with the Giants. It has not panned out for the Giants at all with Matt Chapman.
They've been awful. I'm not going to shed a tear because I don't like the Giants.
No.
How about that? Do you want to talk about Salvador Perez, your boy Pete Alonso next? I mean, Salvador Perez is up there in age.
Yeah,
I mean,
Salvy's older.
I think, highest long-term concern due to age and aging curve. AL Central has weaker pitching, but, rebound is less certain for Salvador Perez. We talked about him when Jim Bowden wrote about him, too. He's 36. I mean, he has had a great career, but I think he's probably on the start of his decline. Let's talk about Pete Alonso. His bat speed is down, but it's still better than most of the league. He's hitting the ball hard, but more whiffs and fewer fly balls. Brutal American League East he plays in. Yankees, Rays, Jays, and Red Sox are all top 10 in Stuff Plus, according to Eno Saris. Do you think Pete Alonso will normalize? I think he does. I think it's a little bit of the pressure of signing with Baltimore, trying to show why that decision was smart, for the Orioles. We saw that with Manny Machado when he first became a Padre. You see that a lot with guys that sign in new places.
I say it all the time, too, with guys that sign in the opposing league. American League pitching is different from National League pitching. So he is having to learn American League pitching he is rarely seen, and trying to do all of that. We talked about yesterday, we had a caller discuss the human element of these guys. So he's trying to get his family set up in Baltimore. He's trying to get cars registered in Baltimore. Like, he's doing a lot of human stuff as well after being in New York for as long as he was. So I always kind of, especially after a power hitter moves from the American League to the National League or vice versa, I always kind of discount that first year as they're starting to get used to American League or National League pitching. So the Polar Bear is going to be fine.
I think so, too. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get you a preview of Padres and Phillies as we get you ready for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Sam Levitt will join us in the final segment as well as we kind of wrap things up here at the Loft. Braden Surprenant Show lead you into the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show into Padres baseball on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Notre Dame and the ACC are back in the middle of college football drama. Some ACC athletic directors are frustrated after Notre Dame opted out of an ACC bowl game last season, calling it everything from arrogant to unfair. But others in the conference say it's not that serious. They argue Notre Dame didn't actually hurt the ACC. Another team just slid into the bowl spot, and everybody still got paid. Meanwhile, the Irish remain one of the biggest brands in college football and still play a partial ACC schedule. So here's the tension. Notre Dame brings huge TV value in marquee matchups, but doesn't fully commit to the conference. At the same time, the ACC is dealing with playoff expansion talks, NIL enforcement issues, and financial pressure compared to the SEC and Big Ten. So is Notre Dame a valuable partner for the ACC or a constant source of friction in an already unstable college football system? Notre Dame versus the ACC as tensions now resurface as we get closer to the NCAA football season. A new storyline is starting to heat up inside the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings as the relationship between the conference and the University of Notre Dame is once again under the microscope. The spark came from Notre Dame declining an ACC-affiliated bowl game last December after narrowly missing the college football playoff. That decision drew strong anonymous criticism from some ACC athletic directors in a report with comments ranging from frustration to accusations of arrogance. But once the dust settled, a different tone emerged from the ACC and ACC administrators, some of whom pushed back, arguing Notre Dame wasn't actually hurting the conference, but opting out, especially since another team simply moved up in the bowl rotation. Notre Dame has historically been successful in ACC bowl tie-ins, going undefeated in those matchups during its scheduling partnership with the league. But it's a complicated partnership that still kind of works. At the center of this, Notre Dame's longstanding partial affiliation with the ACC, which dates back to 2014, the Irish remain independent in football but play a rotating schedule of ACC opponents and are required to meet certain scheduling agreements each year. Some ACC schools want Notre Dame to commit to a more consistent conference scheduling, while Notre Dame believes certain series like Stanford and upcoming matchups with Clemson should count towards those requirements. Still, both sides acknowledge the relationship is valuable. Notre Dame brings national ratings and marquee matchups, while ACC schools get high-profile games they wouldn't otherwise have. Even critics within the league admit the arrangement is more of a mutual benefit than with friction than a broken partnership. As this is all going about in college football, you have a couple other things that we want to get into. College football playoff expansion debate continuing to heat up, NIL enforcement and financial pressure, and the rise of alternative media deals. Let's start with college football playoff expansion debate. I've seen a lot of topic on this. I am a believer in a 2014 playoff. I think that's the way to go. The FCS already does it. There's no reason why the FBS doesn't do it. And anybody that tells you that it's bad for college football has some sort of agenda where they benefit from it not being 24 teams, or they're affiliated with a conference that benefits with the playoff not being 24 teams. I mean, it's another major topic, not only in the ACC circles, but also everybody else's circles when it comes to potential expansion. In terms of the ACC, their leadership, including Commissioner Jim Phillips, has pushed back against concerns that expansion would damage the regular season. Instead, league officials argue a larger playoff could actually increase the value of non-conference scheduling, encouraging more marquee matchups because a single loss would matter less in a bigger field. Critics, however, argue the opposite, that expanding the field risk weakening the importance of the regular season and conference championships. Still, ACC leaders believe college football's limited number of games means fans will continue to care deeply regardless of the playoff size. I don't believe that college football is going to be worse off by having 24 teams in the college football playoff. All it's going to do is make games more meaningful for teams that, with a loss or two early in the season, would have just had a complete season where nobody cared. And I'm not talking about the power conferences like the SEC or the Big Ten or even the top half of the ACC or the Big 12. But the reality is, the more that these schools stay in the race, the better it is for college football and the bigger the games you're going to get in other conferences. And that's the biggest problem with this debate, is they're only looking at it from an SEC Big Ten perspective. The examples that every expert always gives is, oh, the big game between Michigan and Ohio State is going to mean just a little bit less. So what if it does? So what if it doesn't? I don't think it's personally going to be like that because Michigan and Ohio State hate each other. But at the same time, who cares if it does? That game already is between two teams that are most likely to be in the playoff every single year. But you know what it does? It then adds value to San Diego State playing Boise State. It adds more value to San Diego State playing Colorado State, to throw in some local perspective. It makes Iowa State and Houston matter late in the season. Those are two teams that, might not be playing for a playoff spot. And here's the reality. This is where the people come across on like being on their high horse. They go, well, those games matter because they care about bowl games.
Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios in the Loft, if you will. We know how. The Loft here at Petco Park. Gates are open. The Padres fans are starting to trickle in here on a May gray afternoon in America's finest city. A little cooler of an afternoon today for Padres and Phillies. Padres trying to salvage the series against Philadelphia. Just a matter of moments, we're going to have Sam Levitt on with us as he gets ready for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show coming up in just a little bit.
If you are coming out here, by the way, like now, expect some rain. It's saying it's projected to rain here for just the 12 o'clock hour, and then it should be all good to go. But just be ready to find some cover if you're on your way out here. Get into the ballpark.
Getting out here super early.
Yeah,
it's possible. I would imagine it's going to be super light though. It's kind of like a mist last night.
Yeah, exactly. It's not supposed to stay here long. It's not supposed to be heavy, but there is rain in the forecast coming up here soon. But then after that, it should clear up, and we'll be playing under mostly blue skies.
You get the traffic update too? Traffic and weather every 10 minutes?
The parking garage next to us looks pretty okay right now. That's about all I can see. What is that, the 5th floor of the parking garage?
Yeah, the one that's next to the
Wow, it's raining really hard. This is being cool here on the Entercom Empire, so if you're sitting out there.
What?
I have Tony's reaction to exactly what you just said. What?
Thank you, Adam.
What? It's really cool outside. Oh, man. Poor Scraby.
Oh,
will ever live in infamy. He saved that clip himself. Okay,
yes,
so that's
he did.
That's on him.
Speaking of Scraby, by the way, for those of you who don't know, and you can yell at him about this during the show, he is doing an MLB The Show tournament.
Excuse me?
With some of the listeners.
Wow.
If you guys want to get in on that, I know he was trying for 16 teams. I think we have like 5 left to fill.
Are you in this?
I am in this, yes. So if
is Scraby good at this?
I don't know.
Do we have any idea how good Scraby is at playing MLB The Show?
I do not know.
By the way, when did they do the fly ball thing yet, or?
I don't think so.
Are they doing that in June? I'm gonna go watch
these
that.
These are a lot of things that the Gwen and Chris show can answer because Scraby's like there. But if message him about it, see if because we're still looking for people for this MLB The Show thing.
Is it Sammy in the chat wanted to know, is it Diamond Dynasty or?
I am not sure.
Hey man, if you're gonna bring up the contest, you gotta
let me take a look at the email here.
If you're gonna bring it up,
we got an email yesterday. Scraby sent out an email. Let me see if.
Why are you checking the trash?
Because
you already deleted it?
Because I've already done what I needed to do with this. It's called the Scrabinator Classic. And he's got a website, scrabinator.com/classic. Look at this
home
guy.
of Scrabin Nation. First ever. What does that say? Thank you for being part of the first ever Scrabinator Classic. 16 teams, World Baseball Classic style of play. Wow.
One winner. This is the first time I've ever put together anything like this. So for at least one, for the first one, we don't have a prize. So you're not going to be winning any prize. Rules are there will be 16 teams and 12 are going to make the single elimination part of the tournament. During pool play, each player will choose a team. A coin toss will determine which player goes first. Each player will be able to choose the team that they want. That team can only be used once in pool play. Starting pitchers can only be chosen once. For example, if a player chooses a number 1 pitcher, that means they cannot use a number 1 pitcher again in pool play. So you have to play it like a genuine starting rotation, play it like real life. There will during the elimination games, there are no team selection rules. However, a coin flip will determine which player gets to select first. Pool play will be 6 innings and will have a 10-run mercy rule. Once a team leads by 10 runs or more, the game is over as soon as the 10th run is scored. Elimination games are 9 innings with a 12-run mercy rule. And it goes through the pool play, it goes through the groups, how everything's going to be set up. Scraby said he will be streaming his games on YouTube, and he said the final 4 games will be streamed no matter who is in it. So
on the Scrabinator page,
So this will be streamed as well. Again, no prizes because this is the first rendition. He's trying to work the kinks out of this. It's scrabinator.com/classic, and there's a Google Form sign-up sheet on there.
I threw the link in the chat on the Braden Surprenant show page. I'll throw it on the.
Oh no, Augie! No!
Oh no! That would be terrible. I mean, since we couldn't get enough of the COVID MLB The Show games, we decided to recreate that in tournament form, I guess.
Should have a home run derby. Well, hey, we might have to do it next year if this lockout goes long enough.
Oh, don't even put that in the ether, dude. Don't even try to put that out there. Yeah, it's scrabinator.com/classic.
Yep.
Wow,
scrabinator.com/classic.
Anybody else competing? I'd love to see Chris Ello play a video game.
I have a bunch of names here, none of which are people that I know, and they all seem like.
How many are on there?
Personal emails. I think he said there were 11, so he was saying they were looking for 5 more.
5 more.
So definitely, quickly, if you're going to do this, the link asks for your name, email address for the Google form. It asks for your name, email address, Do you own MLB The Show, which I think would be kind of a pretty good prerequisite, yes or no?
Yeah, you don't get a free copy of MLB The Show. You got to pay for that yourself.
What is your
console? Wow.
Which console do you have? It's on Xbox and PlayStation, and what your gamer tag is, your gamer ID. So you can get the invite for
Don't let us down. You're representing our show now.
I will try my best.
Do not let us down.
I will.
Are you good at MLB The Show?
I'm decent. Like, I'm not bless you. He's just allergic to manual labor, this guy.
This is not very manual labor.
He's allergic to work. I'm not going to be like one of the top streamers in the world ever, but I can hold my own. I'm a better pitcher than I am a hitter.
Everybody's a better pitcher than hitter. I'm going to tell you, you got to stream your games.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, you're going to have to stream your games on the Braden Surprenant Show account.
I'm okay with that.
Throw it on yours too. I don't care. I got to see it. But if you get belt to ass though, you're deleting that immediately. Do you think Frank would rage quit if he lost? I need a Scraby Frank matchup in pool play. Be diabolical stuff.
No, I would have to. I can, because I've raced streaming before, and I do get pretty emotional and heated, but I do know when the camera is on me, I do know I have to be a good little boy. So
okay,
I may throw some controllers and say some words after the light goes off.
Camera goes off, you missed the crash out.
Yeah, you won't catch me having a full-blown crash out on stream. That will not happen.
Maybe we should do one of these for college football.
That would be cool, yeah, because the college football game, I think you could have up to like 30 teams in an online dynasty.
Yeah, do or just do. I mean, you could do probably a tournament on a Google. I love making it. That'd be fun. A little pool play tournament with the. We could make a tournament pretty legit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Get ready for the college football season.
That would be pretty cool. The game,
hey, you know what?
College football 27 should be coming out here in July. So.
Or, for all the softball bros in my chat, make a softball tournament. We can come up with our own stuff here. Softball tournament. Get Johnny and Sam on the same team. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Padres and Phillies coming up in just over an hour and 15. We're going to have the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 12:10 today. Rod's in the house. Nate's in the house.
Rod's here. Nate's here.
Wednesday day game action. Let's talk about today's game. Obviously, the biggest concern for the Padres is going to be Christopher Sanchez. That he's got 37 2/3 straight scoreless innings. Padres got to be. I mean, good luck. He's 5-2 with a 1.62 ERA. He has been almost the best, if not the best, in all of the National League, if not all of Major League Baseball. And he's going against an offense that is really struggling right now. Padres trying to manufacture runs, I think, are going to be very difficult today. But they have to try to get some runs early. And Walker Buehler needs to throw up a 0 in the first inning.
Yeah, that is. You're going to need a guy to shut them down here right at the very start of the game. It has not been a good go the first inning. Walker Buehler needs to be somewhat of a slump buster here for the Padres. I'm trying to I brought my laptop here, which is a huge mistake apparently today.
Frank thought his personal laptop that doesn't work well was going to magically work well on the road.
It's a bigger screen. That's why I don't like the tiny screen of the work laptop, but it's a bigger screen, and it's just never under any circumstances by SGN computers. Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, JT Realmuto, Adolis Garcia, Justin Crawford, and Mundo Sosa is the starting 9 for the Phillies ahead of Christopher Sanchez. And I think this speaks to legacy, by the way. When I saw Adolis Garcia come in the game last night, my first thought was, bro, who let you wear Bobby Abreu's number? Who gave you 53?
Oh, man.
Here comes our boy.
We were talking about the numbers. Was it you that was talking about that for one of your sports teams with they let They should have retired a number, and they didn't.
With Nick Morabito, they had him wear number 8 for. They gave him number 8, which was Gary Carter's number, and every single Met fan had a collective aneurysm over the fact that they gave Nick Morabito number 8, to the point where they cry-bullied so much that he ended up switching to number 55 for the next game. If you hold Gary Carter's number in such high regard, which is the catcher for a World Series team, I personally think of him more as a Montreal Expo. But if you're going to cry bully anytime someone gets number 8, retire the number, please.
Well, that's why they have like the I remember back when the Chargers were here and their equipment manager was Bob Wick. He used to retire numbers on his own. He would just retire numbers.
Yeah, it was
he would be
more or
like when LT left, it's like nobody's wearing 21.
It
and
was
before
like a
they
quiet-
ceremonial do it, nobody gets this number. Nobody's getting 17, right? I mean, I don't know. There's probably a handful of nobody was going to get 55.
It was
right?
like those were the retirement.
The deals.
It was like a quiet retirement with the number 8. They hadn't given that number away since 2001. But yeah, hang the number in the rafters if you're just going to complain that somebody's got it. We have our Samuel Levitt here, who just had to do gymnastics.
You look like you're about to get in like a
seat.
Disneyland ride, trying to get into that chair right there, jumping all over the courts.
Oh, there we go. How does Frank even? How do you hear this? Oh, I'm going to lose my hearing. I have this thing boosted up so high all the times.
That's the one thing he complains about every time we go into the studio. He immediately goes, "Is everybody that works for us deaf?"
Yeah, mine's boosted up pretty high. Yeah, Frank, you got to be careful when you're in the loft here because you could step on a power cord, knock out the internet. So,
did you do that before? Are you speaking from experience?
Have I done that before? I think I have, but I think I've done it in a break. I don't think I've ever done that on the air.
All right, well, welcome to it, Sam Levitt, host of the Equal Water SoCal Padres pre and post.
The great Pedro Gutierrez walking by.
In the house.
Hi, Pedro.
I'm going to ask, are you I don't know if you probably don't have time to do this, but did you hear about what Scraby's doing with the Classic? We were just talking about the Scrabinator Classic.
Oh, the
MLB The
video
Show?
game? Yeah. I heard briefly, yes.
Are you a video game player?
No, I have never owned a video game console in my entire life.
Wow. So you would suck at this, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, my brother has it now. We didn't grow up with video games. That was a no-go in our household growing up. We never had anything cool. Like no video games, anything that was trendy, cool, a fad. To my parents' credit, probably we never had video games. We never had Pokemon cards.
I never had those.
We never had Game Boys. I mean, anything that was cool, we didn't have.
What did you have? Like board games and stuff?
Yeah,
Play
we had
outside?
board games. Yeah, I mean, we had computer games. Like, obviously, I played backyard baseball.
That was great.
Which, by the way, they're coming out with a new backyard baseball game.
I know. Yeah,
this year.
I did see that. I loved those games as a kid. I had backyard baseball. I had the OG one that didn't have the pro players on it, and then I had a couple of the ones with the pro players on there. They had backyard baseball, football. I had soccer.
Yep.
Soccer was cool because you got regulated and promoted and stuff.
Hockey.
I never got the hockey one, but I love those games so much that you can like download, and it was.
I have it on my phone.
You can download an emulator from but I want I like the original games. So like. I don't want the new ones are usually kind of lame.
No, but this one's an old one.
Is it old school?
Yes. It's going through an update. But yes, it's like backyard baseball 2001, maybe 2003.
It was the one like Cal Ripken Jr. on there.
Braden, I played an entire season during spring training of backyard baseball.
Oh, I need that app.
I think I was the Melonheads and and I'm like putting together different lineups, and one of my teams I did 2 seasons. One of them went undefeated. So
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Got to download it.
All right, so you're not doing the Scrabinator deal. No. Frank was trying to get. He's playing. I told him he's representing us, so he can't mess it up. I want him to live stream his though. How many crash outs do you think Frank has if he gives up a 5 spot in the first inning with the Mets?
Frank's a big video game guy. He does those racing games.
Right.
Have you talked to him about the racing games?
I try not to let him start talking about that because who knows how long it would last. It might kill a full hour.
He's all fired up for the NASCAR race.
I'm fired up for the NASCAR race coming out
fun.
here.
Yeah.
Should be a good time. All right. Did you go down and talk to the boys and ask them why they're not hitting? Or
I did not do that. I will tell you, I had a very productive morning.
Nice. What was on Sam Levitt's morning?
Well, I had a conversation with Lucas Giolito that will air during the National Series. On today's pregame show, I go one-on-one with none other than Bryce Harper.
Oh,
so
wow.
he'll be on the pregame today.
That's fun.
Did not ask him about the toothpaste.
Yeah, I feel like MLB Network's going to ask him about it a thousand times.
And immediately when I went outside, somebody asked me, did you ask him about the toothpaste? And I said, I'm going to be honest. This was my first ever time talking to Bryce Harper. During previous trips to San Diego, I've never had the chance to do a one-on-one with him. And I just felt like, even though he was fantastic, it's a really good conversation. I was like, we just met. I don't want to bring up the TikTok. Yeah, but
it's probably too much.
Great conversation.
Did you ask him about playing for the San Diego Show here in town as a travel ball player?
I did not.
Yeah, he used to play. He used to play for the San Diego Show. He'd live in Vegas, and we'd fly him out to play tournaments.
Yeah, we did talk about his early days in high school and coming up, and being sort of the biggest prospect we've ever seen at that time at 17. So a lot of good stuff. He was fantastic. So we'll play that a little bit later.
About the offense, we've talked about it a lot. I mean, you're down there more than we are, and we've seen it just in the times that we're here about. It's not a lack of effort thing. It's more of it's mechanical. Maybe it's more mental than anything else. But those guys down there are doing everything they can to not be the worst team offensively in Major League Baseball. And so, obviously we get a lot of phone calls going like, they don't care, this, that, and the other. But the reality is they're probably putting in even extra work than they even need to try to get themselves out of this slump, especially from the Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think it's a work thing. I think that's something that's an easy, sort of thing to say. Oh, they're not putting in the work. I think very much so they're putting in the work. Braden, I wish I had the answers, like I think a lot of us do, as to why so many of these big guys are struggling so badly, and the numbers are where they are. So, look, I think, I hate to say it, but you hope it turns around. Like, it's baseball, right? I mean, you have to hope that these guys sort of just figure it out over the course of the season. But I'm with you. To me, it's not a work issue. No. Is it an approach issue? Is it, information? I don't know, but I don't think it's a lack of effort or work. I can say that pretty confidently.
I think a lot of the things too. I think the other easy scapegoat is like, it's got to be Steven Souza Jr. because the offense collectively is not doing very well. I mean, when you hear him talk when you heard him talk in spring training, whether you talked to him or like Andy Halpern talked to him, I mean, he said what the offensive philosophy was going to be, and the players haven't really been executing said offensive philosophy. Yeah. And from a lot of the daily newsletters from Kevin Acee, a lot of reports from the organization, they're sticking with, if we actually execute what we want them to execute and run and do offensively, we're going to hit our way out of this. But until we get to that point, it's going to be very difficult for us to make any type of changes, which makes me lead to, I don't think it's a approach thing. I think it's more of are these guys executing the approach, which I think is very hard to do when you are struggling, because you start naturally getting up there going like, I gotta try, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix this problem. And you start getting away from what you're supposed to be doing or what got you the success to begin with.
Yeah, I think it would be naive to think that there isn't some amount of pressing going on when you talk about some of the struggles being what they are now, a third of the way through the season. I mean, to me, it seems kind of obvious, like that, Fernando, there have been stretches of this season where he's got out of the approach. He's been over aggressive, and you can just sort of tell in the way he's attacking some of these at bats. Look, I don't know if he'd call it pressing, but you can tell that there's kind of a working outside the approach there at times. And, I think Jackson Merrill, you've seen a little bit of that. He's an aggressive swinger, but, maybe there have been times where he's a little bit over aggressive. Again, I think there's, saying over aggressive isn't necessarily pressing, because sometimes, you could look for your pitch, strike one, or I should say pitch one, and it's the best pitch you might get to hit in that at bat. So I don't necessarily mind swinging early, but it does feel like, to your point, they're chasing a lot. In a lot of these big situations, it feels like they're not always swinging at the best pitch to hit. And when they do get a mistake, it feels like they don't take advantage a lot.
Right.
And, again, like I'm not one to blame hitting coaches. I think Victor Rodriguez was a perfect example of in 2024, he was the greatest when they were a terrific offense until they suddenly weren't. Over 24 scoreless innings.
And the Astros right now are doing pretty well offensively.
And look, if you want to pull a thread from the Victor Rodriguez era to the Steven Souza Jr. era, I mean, this offense is not all that far away from what it was last year, at least in the sense of they don't slug very much. Now, last year, some of the numbers weren't, what they are right now, and especially from the bigger guys, because obviously with guys like Manny and Merrill and the Tatis thing with no home runs, there's kind of been some extremes. But look, to me, this is on the players. I mean, these are big time players making a lot of money, and they're paid to hit. So, so they got to figure it out. There's a long way to go, but two things can be true at once. It's no longer early. We're a third of the way through the year. I think it's fair to be concerned about what this offense has lacked in the first third of the season, but also understand that, we still got a long way to go, and hopefully these guys get it going at some point. They certainly down there seem to believe it will happen.
Right.
But obviously we're getting to June. It's not, it is not early anymore for sure.
No, it's definitely not early anymore. And I do think it will turn around. But again, like the helpless feeling for, I think, a lot of fans and us included, we got to talk about this almost every single day, and nothing has really changed. I mean, everything has been relatively the same. But on top of that, sometimes it's very counterproductive, I think, for, you go back to the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's kind of like what you do in baseball to get yourself out of slumps. There's only so much you can do. I mean, we've heard a lot of people like, well, what if you move these guys down in the order, or what if you do this for a spark? I'm like, I feel like that's just kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't actually think it's going to accomplish what a lot of people think it's magically going to do. I mean, like, what is moving Manny Machado down to 6 really going to do for Manny?
I mean, Braden, they've already kind of tried a lot of different things.
Exactly.
I mean, they've moved Fernando down. They've now moved Merrill down. They've moved Fernando up. They've moved Merrill up. They've moved Manny down a little bit. Like, this idea that you're going to drop Manny Machado down to 8th in the lineup, I think, is a total pipe dream. I mean, I
think it's ridiculous, too.
You're right. Pipe dream was not the right word. I think it's nonsense.
Yes.
It's not going to happen, and it shouldn't happen, especially when you talk about a guy that still is hitting some home runs. Even though the average
he's got 3 hits this homestand, they're all over the fence.
Yeah, well, Hey, you would probably feel a lot better about Fernando if the average was a little bit lower, but he was hitting some balls over the fence.
Right.
There wouldn't be this sort of panic around Fernando. So, look, Mandy doesn't want to hit 170 either, but yes, at least he's hitting some balls over the fence with some degree of regularity. But, I don't know what you do other than just, and I know it's not an answer that a lot of people want to hear, but you got the guys that are here and that are paid to hit, and they have got to take it upon themselves to get it going. I think the biggest difference over the course of this homestand in particular, and this has been a rough homestand offensively overall. We'll get into some of the numbers on the pregame on the homestand and runners in scoring position. All that has been well documented. But one of the issues right now is that the guys that were sort of carrying the way offensively are not hot anymore.
Right.
And Duhar, Castellanos, Sheets has been pretty good, hasn't been as good as Ty France. I mean, and Ty's had some moments too, but they're not doing what they were a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And look, so when you have the big guys in this lineup not hitting, that's going to get exposed even more when you don't have some of these other guys sort of carrying the weight. And I think that's what we've seen on this homestand. And look, today it's not going to get any easier. Christopher Sanchez has been out of this world this season and in the month of May. So this is going to be a tough one today. But we've seen with the Padres sometimes when they face these great pitchers, it kind of brings the best out in them. So hopefully that's the way it goes today.
Sam Levitt joining us on the Braden Surprenant show as we finish up here in the next couple of minutes and hand it back over to Sam for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. We do have to pause 15 seconds for station identification. It's the Braden Surprenant show, San Diego #1 Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, this is Jason Adam from the San Diego Padres.
Strike 3 called. Great slider from Adam.
The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
Braden Surprenant here on the Braden Surprenant Show, joined by Sam Levitt, the host of the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show and the Jamul Casino Resorts Padres postgame show. He'll be jumping on in a matter of moments. We got a couple of minutes here to finish up the show. We do this at the end of every show now. We're doing the bold prediction of today's game. I know you have a what to watch for. I know you got keys to the game. What's your bold prediction for today's Padres game?
I could get really, really crazy because Fernando's got good numbers against Christopher Sanchez.
Our established one for the show that is every day is Fernando home run until he hits it. So you can't use that. You got to find something else.
Bold prediction.
Mine last night was Manny will not strike out, and he checked it off. We're good.
Okay, so you can go as small as that.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. It's a little bold,
prediction is that I don't want to go too crazy, especially against Christopher Sanchez.
I got one for you. Here, I'll give you mine.
Okay.
Christopher Sanchez gives up a run before Walker Buehler today.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's bold. It's a little crazy.
I'll say Walker Buehler puts together a quality outing.
Okay.
How about that? Not too crazy.
Does that count as quality starts?
Quality starts. So 6 innings, 3 runs or less.
All right. That sounds good. Frank, what's your bold prediction? Come on, man. You're not going to get let off the hook here because you're past the baton of. His yesterday was what did he say yesterday? I forgot what he said yesterday. He said some type of home. Oh, he had a Fernando home run in the second inning or something. Second at bat. He's thinking too long. Gavin Sheets 2 doubles with a double-double.
All right.
Tripped it in and out on the way home. All right, I'll take that.
That's pretty good.
I'll take that. All right, so what do you got coming up on the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show? I know you briefly mentioned before we had legal ID, but conversation with Bryce Harper today?
Yeah, good conversation with Bryce about him coming up to the major leagues at such a young age and coming up alongside Steven Strasburg, obviously San Diego State size. I actually had another good conversation in the clubhouse that probably will play at some point during the series in Philly with Otto Kemp, who went to Point Loma Nazarene, undrafted,
Point Loma Nazarene
and is now a Philadelphia Philly. So that was a good one, too. But we'll have that and all our normal pregame stuff and all the good segments, all that good stuff.
Yeah, nice. So thanks again for taking the time.
Yeah,
we're going to pass the baton. Are you going to keep that chair?
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price as 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Because shoot, anyone can make a promise.